Order. It is our opinion that the items on today's agenda constitute essential business of this body and that this meeting is electronically necessary to protect the health, well-being, the welfare of Tennessee citizens in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Are there any objections? Seeing none, I'll also say that today's meeting is being live streamed by Metro ITS and Metro Network 2. Sports Authority governance documents state that the Personnel Committee is to be comprised of the board chair, the vice chair, and the secretary treasurer. Kathy Bender and Secretary Wynn, are you available now?
I am present, Director Harris.
Secretary Wynn. Well, in light of the technical difficulties he's having getting on at the moment, we expect him to come in at any time. But nevertheless, we'll go on with the meeting. The Personnel Committee typically meets once a year for review of the Executive Director and to discuss staff issues that authority may have or may be aware of. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss position control and a request by the staff to upgrade both administrative positions from Administrative Services Officer 2, commonly referred to ASO2, and the Administrative Services Officer 3, commonly referred to as ASO3. At this time, I'll recognize our Executive Director, Monica Folkneston, to tell us more, and we'll also have representatives from the Metro Human Resources available this morning to answer any questions that we might have. So at this time, Monica, you could go ahead and make your presentation.
Well, good morning, everyone. So over the last 4 to 6 weeks, we've had several conversations with HR, with our budget analyst, Greg McLaren, who I think is stuck out of town dealing with snow, and also some other members of the Metro budget team to discuss position control. As you know, Alicia resigned in December, and I'm so grateful for Melissa and Quentin. They've taken on a lot of additional duties since she took leave back in October, but we desperately need to get this position filled. And as I was thinking about filling this position, I was reminded of an article that I read 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a survey of CEOs, and they found out that many CEOs wished they had been more strategic in their hires, and instead of filling a position and hiring for right now, that they wish they had taken a step back, really thought about the organization and the need, and then had hired for where they hoped the organization would be in 3 years or in 5 years. And it was a very timely reminder for me. And so with that in mind, my request is that the board consider upgrading the open position from an ASO2 to an ASO3. And ultimately, the goal is always to assemble the best team that we can and to attract and to hire someone with experience performing higher level administrative duties who can grow with the department and who fits with our organization structure and culture. And we know that's important. And I just need to be able to hand off and delegate more than I'm currently doing. Additionally, we're requesting that the board consider approving an upgrade to our other administrative position, which is Quentin's position, also adjusting it from ASO2 to ASO3. I think all of our board members and probably everybody on the call knows that Quentin's primary role over the past 5 years has been special events coordinator, and he's done a great job there. And there are some other administrative functions that his job requires him to perform. But the goal for upgrading this position is really to provide some increased compensation for some additional higher level duties that we need to be added to this position. The most important of which would be working with Melissa, our finance manager, and the Department of Finance on fixed or capital assets and the tracking of these assets. And I think as we look to steward our facilities and to really understand the assets that we have and to track them from through the life cycle, from the time that we procure them to the time where they need to be replaced. We need to make sure that we, I think, have a better, that we are better tracking the assets. And we just honestly have not had the capability or the bandwidth to do that the way that it needs to be done. And so that is something I would like to add to that position. In my executive director's report that you received on Friday, I note that the total projected cost to upgrade both positions is $22,000 to $31,000. That's salary and fringes for both positions. So that's the total. Our budget analyst, Greg McLaren, has reviewed the request and will approve it for sufficient funding. We believe that much of this increase will be able to absorb because our department just typically finishes the year under budget. But in the case that future budgets could not fully absorb the expense, then staff would request board approval to use funds from Sports Authority allocations from Bridgestone Arena. This is the same account that's used to pay Melissa and Bob Lackey. So that's our request in a nutshell, and I am pleased to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Monica. We will also ask HR if they have any additional comments to make at this time, or.
Hi, this is Trina Pennington. I'm in Metro HR, and currently I'm the recruitment contact for Sports Authority. And we've discussed this with Monica and also with our training and acquisition, talent acquisition manager. And we don't see any problems with the classification as it stands.
Thank you.
I think the other thing I would add, and Trina, I don't know if you want to speak to this as well, but obviously this would be an announcement. We would need to announce both positions, although we do have the ability to, for the position that Quentin holds, to announce or to do a department promotional announcement. So that would stay in the department. Trina, am I missing anything there?
No, that's correct. You can have, as long as you have that position approval, you can announce it internal. You can announce it Metro-wide, or you could go open. So for you to do a promotional departmental is completely doable for us. And then also, I think the open position that you have, you want to do an open competitive, which is everybody, including Metro employees, but also anybody who is outside of Metro.
Okay.
So Frank, if I may,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to say that, as the most tenured board member of the Sports Authority, what we initially started out with has changed tremendously in terms of the responsibility of the Sports Authority Executive Office. And so as I've watched over the years, it's become much more complicated. And the responsibilities have definitely changed. I think that we have all been amazed at the ability for Monica and her team to carry out the work that they have, being as lean as that staff is. We're extremely happy to have Melissa on board, but I think we've all watched also Clinton and others have to step in and fill positions, and even Monica doing things that take away from her role as the executive director. So I really appreciate the forward thinking. I like the idea of planning for the future because Nashville is positioned to continue to grow in the area of sports. And so I am totally on board with the recommendation. And if Metro has already vetted and feels comfortable with the financial piece of it, then I am definitely in favor of making the upgrade.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Is Secretary Wynn on yet? I guess not. In light of the fact that Secretary Wynn is not on, Monica, do we take a vote at this time, or should we wait for his attendance?
Director Wynn is in the process of calling in right now, so hopefully he'll be joining us here in a few seconds.
Okay, then we'll wait for him if that's okay with everyone.
And what I would say in the meantime is while this is before the Personnel Committee right now, this is also on the agenda and will go before the Finance Committee tomorrow morning as part of our budget, FY21 budget update and FY22 budget proposal. So the Finance Committee will vet this as well. But in terms of the position, we really wanted to bring this before you and needed to get your recommendation.
Thank you. I'm hoping that we could have Secretary Wynn on pretty soon without any difficulty. And if not, I'm asking you, Monica, is there a possibility we could vote on this as a board?
Well, this is a 3-member committee. So with 2 members, we have a quorum and you could vote. I understand. I would like for Secretary Wynn to be on the call as well. But if we are not able to get him on in the next little bit, then yes, you can move forward and still vote.
Okay. I have a question also that I was curious. When will this take effect in the event that we go ahead and process this through the board?
Well, I'm sorry. Once the board, once it's been vetted through committee and the board approves it, then we will continue working with the Department of Finance and HR. There's some, I guess, a form and some position control work that has to be done through the Department of Finance. And so they will I guess, work through their process and make sure everything is gets the go ahead, and then it will move to HR, and we'll work with Trina on the recruitment. Trina, what would you add to that question?
Just that once you all get your budget approval, then that starts the process where it can come over to our side. This is relatively small pool that we're expecting for a promotional, because we have one person who could potentially apply and be considered. There's a little time built in. We have to post things for a certain period of time. For the open competitive, that one will take a little longer to fill because there probably will be quite a few applicants for us to review. We'll send an approved group of applicants over to Monica and her team so they can look at them. they'd have to do some interviewing, but altogether the promotional is rather short. The open might take a little bit longer, but we don't foresee any problem being able to get you that out and processed through our systems as quickly as possible.
Very well. Thank you, Trina.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Monica. We're still waiting, right?
Yes. Director Harrison, I see Director Don Deering on the line, and although he's not on the committee, we welcome any input or questions that maybe he might have.
Okay, that's fine with me. Don, would you like to go ahead and?
Yeah, thanks to everyone. I'm one of the new members of the committee and try to join in these committee meetings as much as possible, still trying to behind the power curve of learning about the Sports Authority, but have been truly amazed about the staff that we have, how they respond to things when we have problems, particularly Quentin. I told him this morning and trying to get in. I know he has. I've never seen him before. I guess he's got hair. He's probably about ready to pull all his hair out with all those newcomers. But anyway, and if I understand right, if this is approved by the full board and the finance committee, Quentin will be getting a step increase, and then we're hiring a new person, and that will be vetted by the HR. Is that correct?
Monica.
Dawn, I think essentially that's correct. Well, Quentin would not be getting a step increase, but what we're looking to do is upgrade the class that the position is currently held at. So we would need to, in following HR processes, we would announce the new position at the ASO3 level, but we would do it internally. And so as Quentin would be the one person in the department who would be qualified to apply for it, then that would be our hope and expectation is that he would do that, and that ultimately we would be able to promote or upgrade the position that he currently has with him staying in that position. And then the second, or the open position that was filled by Alicia, we would be doing an open competitive search for a replacement. And that would also be at an upgraded position of ASO3.
Monica, thank you for that. When on the new position or a new person for the other position that Melissa left, Alisa, HR vets that, but do you have visibility of the applicants that they suggest before doing so?
Yes, so I will work with Trina on the recruitment, and there are a number of ways that we can do that. And even when we hired Melissa, we did a round of phone interviews, which served as the first interview, and then HR helped us continue to cull down the list of applicants until we reached a number that we wanted to interview in person. And so, yes, I will definitely be part of that process.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank to Quentin and the other staff there in helping us get to where we're at. And I think Kathy made some good comments there about being around and watching how this Sports Authority has grown. The responsibility has gotten even greater and will probably continue to do so. But thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate your notes there. I do have Director Nguyen on the line with me.
Very well.
Mr. Emmett, can you speak?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you, Director.
Okay.
Can everyone hear Secretary Quentin?
Yes.
I mean,
When?
Gwen? All right.
When?
Very good, very good, very good. I don't think we have to review everything for him. I think he's familiar with what we're attempting to do here. So at this time, unless Mr. Wynn has any questions or any statements he'd like to make, we'll go ahead and take our vote.
Well, just briefly, the responsibilities are growing for the staff. We will be, we are technically one person short. And I think that the job itself, because of the amount of responsibility, needs to be upgraded, if that's the right term. And I will definitely agree with the rest of the authority if it's so chosen to be done.
Thank you. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to recommend approval of the request to upgrade both the department's administrative positions for Administrative Services Officer 2, ASO2, and to the Administrative Services Officer 3, ASO3. Is there a motion?
So moved, Director Harris.
All right. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? No,
Aye.
saying aye. And I say aye. And any opposed? None. So this request of a staff position adjustment will go to the Finance Committee tomorrow morning, I suppose. And this concludes our brief agenda. However, we would like to note that we should be meeting again in late spring or early summer for the Executive Director's performance review. And we will let you know at that time, as we get closer to that time, what date that will be. Are there any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
There's a second. All right, we adjourn. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it very much.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.